Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Afi and I'm back again with another video. I'm back again with another song inspiration, which I haven't done in such a hot minute. Such a hot minute. Anyway, I don't want to make this intro too long because my previous video was like 30 minutes. Honestly, I don't know how I got there. But this is a song inspiration. The song is called Best Thing, and it's by Jonathan McReynolds. I've done a few of his other songs. I will link them down below and up in the cards so you can check those out. So this song is called Best Thing, and the message is basically the best thing that I did in my life was to accept like God, right? So anyway, I wrote down this song reminds me of needing assurance, but not reassurance. Um, and it just reminds me of a time when, well, I wouldn't say reminds me of because I guess I'm currently in that season, but when times are really, really hard and you're wondering whether like you want to do this faith thing, because I just remember getting to a place where I was like, some things are logical in my brain. Like there's a logical explanation for it in my brain, right? So I can't deny that as sort of like fact. But then it's just hard, like it's just rough. So and also there's just days when you feel like God isn't working. So this song is sort of just like a reminder of like the best thing I ever did in my life was actually be intentional about my relationship with God. Um, and so the reason why I wanted to do this now in February is because I spent the entire January like talking about goals, talking about the end of 2020, the excitement and all that stuff. And getting to February, I guess you could lose a bit of your momentum. So if your intention at the beginning of January was like to revitalize your relationship with God, right? By the time February is reaching, you're like, life has happened, I'm too tired, I'm not interested. But I guess my point here is it's never too late to keep redoing it, like restarting something new. It's never too late. Never give up, even when you feel like I didn't wake up today, so tomorrow I can't do it or whatever. Never give up. Like the secret is just to keep going and keep trying. And I think for me this song is just one of those ones that has been giving me just a bit of, I don't know, it's been playing in my head a lot actually. Maybe it's because I wanted to do this video so badly, but it's just also that just reassurance. So I'm going to go into the lyrics. It's not too heavy, but anyway. So the first verse says, sometimes life can weigh upon your shoulders, pressure too heavy for me to shoulder. But when I just hand it over, you take the load and make it light. Whatever's left, you make it right. For me, God, for me. And I want to talk about that part of like you take the load and make it light, whatever's left you make it right. um it's the idea of letting go of control, and I have a couple of videos where I've talked about letting go of control. Clearly I am a bit of a control freak, like, and not like a control freak, but like I love having stuff in control. Like I don't mind change, but I like to control the amount of change. Like I don't like things just happening randomly. I'm just like, oh my god, what's happening? I'm going mad. So the idea of letting go of control is something that's very, very big for me, especially as a human being. And just learning that all you can do is your portion of responsibility, and you have to be okay with that, right? Like you can't control every little thing. I remember there's one of my favorite YouTubers is called Renee, and she talks about, and I remember some videos she was feeling like she was going through something, and she was talking about how she was feeling about it. And I just remember in my head being like, just give your life to God. Like, like once you have faith, it's literally, and I don't want to say it becomes simple, but just some things stop being so big, in my opinion. I don't know if that's everyone's perspective. Let me know in the comments. I think I would really, really like to know if that's everyone's perspective. But for me, that's what I've seen. Like some things are not as big of a deal as they would have been if I was not in the place in my faith that I am now. Basically, that's my point. The chorus says, I find my life when I lose it in you. I gain control when I give it to you. I save myself when I let you save me. The best thing that I can do for me is you. And that's the thing. Like, there's that peace that comes with letting go of a situation and leaving it to God. Not letting go, not doing what you're supposed to do, doing what you're supposed to do, and being like, I've given my all at this point. I can't do anything about it. Like, that's it. And for me, I think what happened was, well, actually, like last semester, I remember I did a couple of videos where I was like, oh, blah, blah, and I was really, really upset. Anyway, now looking back, I'm just like, oof, like it was warranted, and I'm glad I did that video because I think it also shows the reality of life. Like, you can be very upset at situations. But also, after having done that video and being upset for about a month later, you just realize that, like, it's harboring in your heart, it's hurting you. It's not hurting the person that upset you, it's not nothing. It has absolutely no impact on that person. You're the one suffering for this. And I think there's a song that basically says something like that, like, I'm suffering for something you did. And for me, I'm not about that life. I'm really not about that life. Like, it's happened before, and I'm not interested in suffering for someone else. Like, you did something, I have no desire to hold it in my heart for you. No, thank you. So just that idea of letting go and having peace with that, with letting go, it can be difficult. It can be very, very hard, is what I'm going to say, because I've gone through it and it's hard and it's rough. But when you get to that point where you're feeling peace of mind, you're just like, why didn't I do this sooner? You know? Anyway, second verse says, sometimes there are things I question, but I do it without the God who answers questions. So I try to figure it out myself, but I've learned my lesson. Um, then, okay, yeah, so I try to figure it out, but I've learned my lesson. And I guess this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, there are things I question, but I do it without the God who answers questions. And I remember me having just living my life the way I was living it before. I was not by any means doing any bad things. Like, I promise you, if I gave you an account of how my life went, you'd be like, why do you feel as if you're such an evil human being? And yet I do, right? Anyway, that is like another conversation. But my point here was, there was so many things I was questioning, but I was not coming from a place of like, God, I want to know who you are. It was like, I want to dispute all these things that people are telling me, you know. And what has worked for me is coming from a place of trying to find God, not trying to dispute that God exists, is very, it gives you very different, what is it called? It gives you very different outcomes, for lack of a better word. Because I think when you're coming from a place of disputing that God exists, you can get to a place where you find people who will tell you the exact same thing you want to say. But the truth of the matter is, I think, in my opinion, it's fact that God exists. If you, whether you believe it or not, God does exist. And it's not that that's my truth, it's a truth. Like that, like it becomes your portion if you don't want to believe it. That's a decision you have made, but you can't say that God does not exist completely, right? So my thing is coming from a place of, I want to see who this God is that people are talking about so strongly, versus coming from a place of like, God doesn't exist and I'm going to prove it. Those are two very different opinions and very different stances. And you know, not to say that if you come from this other object, like this place where you're like attacking, that you're not going to find God, because more often than not you will find God, because God does exist, right? But it's just easier if you're coming from a place of trying to find God, you know, a place of humility, not pride. um, then the next bridge says, you take the load and make it light. Whatever's dim, you make it bright. Earlier, it was whatever's left, you make it right. Here is whatever's dim, you make it bright for me. And I guess that's self-explanatory in my opinion, because it's like some things just become, it's like having a eureka moment. You know, I don't know how else to say it, but it's sort of like having a eureka moment, and you're just like, wow, you know, like that's what it is. Then we go back to the chorus. I find my life when I lose it in you. I gain control when I give it to you. I save myself when I let you save me. The best thing I can do for me is you. um and then we go now on, and it says, I finally know what real love is like. And as I said in, I think I said it in the real love in dating video chapter 3, I'm going to link it down below as well, because that will have come out before this one. that feeling God's love and knowing about God's love makes some things feel so small. And it's like you finally know what it means to feel really loved. And so some things people do that would make you feel unloved don't make you feel unloved anymore. You're just like, I understand you are a flawed human being, and that's fine. Like it's not going to affect how I feel about myself, because so many things happen that get you down and that make you have a low self-esteem and make you not believe in yourself and make you. I saw this thing somewhere, and someone was saying actually, when you get your heart broken, you stop believing that you are fit enough to make decisions for yourself. And that's what happens. Your trust in yourself lowers, and that becomes such a big problem. You have to work towards building your trust in yourself again, so that when you're making decisions, you know that you're making them for your benefit. And so yeah, another line is, and I can't believe I took all this time. As I said earlier, I sometimes you get to a place where I just like, why did it take me so long? But I think at the end of the day, something to remember is it's better late than never. Honestly speaking, like it's never too late to be in this place of like giving your life to God. I genuinely believe that it's never too late, and it can never be too late. So yeah, better late than never, in my opinion. Then it says, I'm glad I got a friend in this fight. I love you, life. And that's the thing. Sometimes when you are feeling very low, you're feeling very lonely. I speak about this, I think, in the January recap, that on Fridays are like the loneliest of times for me. And that's not to say that I'm alone. It's not to say that like there's anything anybody has done to make me feel like that. It's just something I'm feeling, right? Um, and in the past, that loneliness would drive me to do some things that are not necessarily good things, but that's what that loneliness would drive me to do. And then I would be like, oh God, what's happening here? Now I hate my life and blah blah blah. But seeing this is like, seeing God as your friend for me has been such a big turning point in my life, because it's just like when I'm feeling lonely, I'm like, God, by the way, this is how I'm feeling in this moment, and blah blah blah. And I put on some music, and I'm trying to come up with like a self-care kind of routine on days like that, just to make myself feel better, because no one is going to do that for me. And the fact that at the end of that part he says, I love you, life, just gives you that turnaround of attitude. Like, I don't know how else to say it. It's like your attitude has changed completely from hating your life and being in this dark place to being like, I absolutely appreciate this life that I'm living. Because I know for me, there's a time you're just like, and yeah, what am I doing in this world? Like, what's the point of this? Like truly, truly what's going on. But I know, like, by the end of 2020, I was feeling such a huge energy for life, like just being like, I am excited to live my life to the fullest. I am excited to start working and start earning money enough for me to travel and live in places that I want to live in, and just do all these things, not feeling like I have barriers. And I feel like sometimes as human beings we put these blockages in our brains, like I can't do this and I can't do this and I can't do, and these things seem so big and massive, and it's not that big. And maybe I'm speaking from a side of naivety, and the reason why I'm okay with that is because I'm like, it's nice to have this naiveness of just being like, life is just that simple, instead of being like, oh, life is so, like being a Debbie Downer. Because we can be Debbie Downers all our lives, and we can live like that, and I have lived like that, and it's not nice. Like, it's just sad. Like, it's just a sad life. And not to say that like there's anything wrong with you if you are a Debbie Downer, or if you feel yourself as realistic, because I think it's important to be realistic, but don't be realistic pessimistic. Like, bro, you can be realistic and optimistic at the same time. Don't have to be pessimism. Like, come on, that life is difficult and it's just sad, in my opinion. I feel like I'm coming off so strong in this video, but anyway, now towards the end, now this is the end of the song, and he basically goes to the chorus. I find my life when I lose it in you. I gain control when I give it to you. I save myself when I let you save me. The best thing I can do for me is you. The best thing I can do for me is you. And I think the reason why it's so important to end the song like this specifically is because it's a constant reminder. The best thing that I can do for my life is God, right? So even when I do not want to pray to God, or even when I'm angry at God, because I've had conversations with people who are like, those day I was actually angry at God and we were having a conversation, and it's like, yes, even when you're angry at God, you speak to God, and you say, I'm feeling upset that you did this in my life. And I've done that before. Actually, one time I was feeling so upset, I can't remember what even happened, but I just remember thinking, I am tired. And I was like, the only person I can talk to like this without feeling as if God will judge me is God. I feel like human beings are so flawed that you're not too sure. And maybe this is me being a pessimist towards human beings and not trusting human beings. And maybe I need to find a way back to trusting people more. But for me, I just think having conversations with God, even when you're angry at God, even when you're angry at someone else, even when you want to say the worst things, is the best thing you can do for yourself, because you have that solace in God, I would like to say. And I think for me, what has helped is feeling that from God has helped me show it to myself and show it to other people as well. That's, then I think that's what's important. We have to treat human beings, other human beings, the best way that we can. And for me, that's something that I'm trying to build in my life, and I hope it all works out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to go a bit fast just because my last video took like 30 minutes and I was like, I can't count. I don't know how long. I don't know how that happened or whatever. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified every single time I post a new video. Yeah. So I don't know if I said this, but like this video. Okay. Bye.